Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley and today we're going to be ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes that I purchased this past year. It's funny because I somehow managed to purchase 22 eyeshadow palettes in the year of 2022. I did not do that on purpose, I swear, but when I saw that that was my number, I thought it was pretty fitting and pretty funny. Now, I did only choose to include eyeshadow palettes that I specifically purchased. I decided not to count any of the eyeshadow palettes that came in some of the mystery boxes that I got throughout the year, just because I already had enough eyeshadow palettes here, and these were the ones that I specifically set out to buy. Now, this was actually incredibly difficult because I tried a lot of really awesome eyeshadow palettes this year. Yes, there were a couple that fell into the, yeah, I wish I hadn't purchased you, and a few that fell into the, yeah, they were okay. But most of them were fantastic. So trying to decide who got the top slots was really, really hard. So no more rambling. Let's talk about my least favorite eyeshadow palette purchase of this year. And if you've been following any of my other videos, you have probably already realized that it is this one right here. This is from Makeup Revolution. This is their Forever Flawless Enchanted palette. I purchased this from Marshall's when I was having a really bad day. And I'm not gonna lie, this is a color story that totally speaks to me. These grungy jewel tones, absolutely some of my favorites. But I have never gotten on very well with the Makeup Revolution eyeshadow formula. I find them to be patchy and difficult to use, and I wish that I had not purchased it. Falling into that same category, from the same shopping trip to Marshall's, is this right here from Morphe. This is with their Coke collaboration. And this one is better than the Makeup Revolution one. There is nothing truly like special or interesting about the Morphe eyeshadow formula in my opinion. I do think that the color story is nice. I enjoy those sort of warm berry orangey pinky tones, but it's not one that I reach for a ton because there are others that I just prefer over it. So this is the next palette. This is the one that I just recently picked up from Target and ColourPop, and I like this one, I do. It is just a very nice ColourPop neutral palette, but I have a lot of neutral palettes, and again, there are others that I definitely jumped for before this one. Not saying there's anything wrong with it. This is one that falls into the it's fine category. One that pains me because it falls into my it was just fine category is this one here from Sydney Grace. This is the Where the Wild Things Grow palette. And I'm not gonna lie, I was super excited about this. I picked this up, I wanna say in their Christmas in July sale. It was basically buy one palette, get this one for free. And this was one that I had really been wanting. I was excited by it in the promo pictures. But for some reason, it just doesn't call to me as much now that I have it here in my hands. I find the color story a little bit disjointed, and I see it a little bit more as a companion palette than a standalone. So I really love Sydney Grace's formula, and I'm really happy to have this. I just am ranking it because it was in the fine category. I hope that makes sense. One of the first palettes that I purchased this year was from ColourPop. This is the Smoke and Roses palette. This did not release this year. I feel like it released last year, but I picked it up this year. This is what the color story is. And again, these are just some beautiful pinks, berries, and it's lovely. It's really lovely. I just, for some reason, don't really think to pull for this one very often. And so that's why I ranked it a little bit lower in the setup here. Ooh, this one. There is nothing wrong with this palette. This is Beauty Bay's Midnight palette. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I should have known better than to buy a palette of this size because I just honestly feel incredibly overwhelmed every time I open it. And so many of these shades feel so similar to one another that I have a hard time not putting together just a straight up monochromatic look. Which, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not always what I'm going for. And blues for me are so intimidating and challenging to want to use. Having a palette that is so dedicated to so many blues, for me, is a little bit difficult, which is why I ranked it a little bit lower. I have used this a few times. The formula is absolutely lovely. I really enjoy Beauty Bay's formula. I don't pull for this palette as much as I should, I guess. One of the other palettes that I picked up from Sydney Grace during their Christmas in July palette, this is the palette that I purchased to get the other one for free. Or was it the other way around? Now I don't remember. I bought one, got the other one for free. This is the one that is the Mountain Trail palette. And this one I have used a whole lot and I really, really like it. Again, it's got these, you know, these mossy sort of browny greens and gold, and I really love those types of colors. So this one, I have created quite a few looks with it and I've loved every single one of them. Absolutely, wholeheartedly recommend this palette so much. I love it. This is my first ever Glam Light purchase. This is the Mikayla Paht 2 palette. I saw this at a CVS near me and I was like, you know what? I want to give that a try. And I'm really happy that I did. So this is what the color story in here looks like. Again, it's got lots of greens and purples and browns and golds, and those are just some of the colors that I wear the most. It does have some blues in there, and I have had a lot of fun playing with them. I find them much easier to want to pull for in a palette like this that has more of a color variety than in the Beauty Bay, which is why I ranked this one a little bit higher. This one pains me to have it so low because, again, I tried so many amazing palettes this year that they just beat each other out by the slightest of margins. And this one here was fantastic. I really, really love this palette. This is the Hela palette from Oden. And you guys, again, these are some of my very favorite types of colors to wear. I love the grungy greens that pull very yellow. I think those are so much fun. I really love this bottom row right here. The pinks are a lot of fun. This is a stunning palette and it doesn't deserve to be as low as it is. There were just so many great palettes this year. My gosh. Another one that it pains me to have it lower in the ranks is one that I have wanted for years. This is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I am obsessed with this palette, and I mean, I guess we're starting to see a theme here. A lot of grungy greens and golds. I love it. This is a stunning palette. Again, I have no idea why it was discontinued because the quality is amazing. The color story is amazing. Everything about it is amazing except for the price. I mean, it's awesome. I'm almost wondering if she is moving more towards the midi palettes, which are a little bit smaller pans and they are a lower price point because it's just so hard to shell out over $100 for an eyeshadow palette. Even though I will say, for me at least, Natasha Denona, I'm pretty sure makes my favorite luxury eyeshadow formula. I love Natasha Denona. It works flawlessly for me and I love that palette. Another palette that is new to me and a brand that's newer to me is this here. This is the Geodes palette from What's Up Beauty. I really enjoy this formula a lot. This was so much fun. I created quite a few looks with this and I really enjoyed working with it. The mattes in here are so good. I love the matte formula of this palette. I think the shimmers are really pretty as well. They're very glittery and multi-dimensional and I really enjoyed this palette. I was so happy to get my hands on this. This is from Menagerie Cosmetics. This is the Serenity palette. This is the palette that they created in collaboration with Annette's Beauty Corner or Makeup Corner. I think I probably said that wrong. But I mean, look at these eyeshadows. They are so vibrant and so fun. And I honestly absolutely love their shimmer formula. It is so good. It is very opaque and very beautiful and it works really well with either brush or your finger. It is really nice and I love that palette. I think it's discontinued, so if that's the case, I apologize, but if you have it and you haven't used it in a while, pull it back out because it is just so stunning. I purchased a lot of Oden's this year and I have absolutely zero regrets. So the next palette in my ranking is also from Oden's. It is the Solmane 2 palette. And again, look at this beautiful rainbow. It is so stinking gorgeous. Oden's Eye has some of the most interesting textures in their eyeshadow palettes, and I absolutely loved playing with this so much. This, I'm pretty sure, is still available, so I highly recommend it and the Hela palette both. They're beautiful. Okay, I don't love huge palettes. This came as a set with the Midnight palette. This, though, I find much more approachable because these are all colors that are within my personal comfort zone and wheelhouse, so to speak. Yeah, greens and browns. There are a couple of reds down here, but I absolutely love this palette. Again, this formula is really, really absolutely so good, and I am so happy to have this palette because it is so much fun to use. It is a lot of fun. The next palette is one that I also feel guilty about having ranked so highly because it's no longer available. But again, Natasha Denona, the gold palette. I was so thrilled to get my hands on this. And again, why was it discontinued? It is stunning. So beautiful, so versatile, so easy to use. Again, it falls in my theory of she's just not doing the larger palettes anymore because they don't sell as well as the mid-tier price point. Oh, this is so good. If you want to come out with a midi of this, I think it would sell really well. It's beautiful and it's a ton of fun. All right, we've gotten to the top 5. Well, sort of. You'll see what I mean. So, this is a newer palette to my collection. I only got it a couple of months ago. This is from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. It is the All Done Up palette, and it is an absolute showstopper. Look at that. I love her matte formula. It is so good, and I also love that it's set up in rows to help make it really easy to put together cohesive looks, but you can also jump around. It's beautiful, and I highly recommend checking out Blend Bunny Cosmetics. Indie brand, fantastic, absolutely beautiful formula, absolutely love it. In our number 4 spot, we have another Natasha Denona. I feel like this year I purchased a ton of Natasha Denona and a ton of Oden's Eye. I picked this up during the Fall Sephora sale. This is the My Dream palette, and it is absolutely beautiful, like breathtaking. Look at those textures and those colors, that beautiful saturation. This is beautiful. I am so glad that this released before her Retro Glam. I think that's the newest one that's out, because I'm glad I purchased this one. The other one speaks to me a little bit, but this one speaks to me a ton, and I really, really have enjoyed everything that I've used when I've used it. All right, so number 3 is actually 2 palettes. These are from Kaleidos. I purchased their release that had these 2 eyeshadow quads and all of the multi-chrome eyeliners, which, by the way, holy buckets, you guys. Those are outstanding. But I decided to go ahead and purchase the whole set, and I'm really glad that I did, because these eyeshadow palettes are absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. The mattes are gorgeous, but the shimmers, like, I feel like I need to start giving swatches of things, because the shimmers in this, I cannot get over. They're just absolute gorgeousness. I think this one is my favorite of the 2, but I mean, look at this. They are so impressive. Like, I feel like the camera never really does enough justice when it comes to swatching. I think you can get a little bit of the shift in the top one. These are so, so lovely. I've used Kaleidos in the past, and I've been happy with what I've purchased, but I feel like these shimmers and even the mattes are a step up from what I've used in the past, from some of the eyeshadow palettes that I've had from them in the past. These are phenomenal. These are phenomenal. I think there's at least one other one that's like grays. Even though I don't wear grays and blacks all that often, I would consider purchasing it just because I know the quality is so absolutely fantastic. Again though, check out those eyeliners. They're really, really cool. In the number 2 slot, and you guys, I feel so guilty about this. I really do. Again, from Oden's Eye, I couldn't choose between these two palettes, so they are sharing my number 2 slot. And I feel guilty because these were limited edition and they sold out super, super fast. But they are probably the best quality I have ever tried from Oden's Eye. And that's saying a lot because Oden's Eye has fantastic quality. This is the Merry Christmas palette. The textures in here are just another level. They're so pretty. And then this one is the Christmas Eve palette. And this is what it looks like. I mean, absolutely fantastic and an utter joy to use. Those are my number 2. Again, I'm so sorry since I know that they are no longer available, but I mean, I had to go with what it was. And then finally, the number 1 palette that I have tried this year is actually what I am wearing on my eyes today. And that is my Dollhouse palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. Do not sleep on this brand. Do not sleep on this brand. It is so, so high quality and so good. This is what the palette itself looks like. Again, it is set up in these really handy rows to make it really easy to put looks together. You don't have to stick to the rows. I didn't today. I jumped all over the place. Such high quality. And I'll tell you, when I first got this, I was so scared of all of these incredibly deep shadows. They are rich and saturated, but they are so easy to use. They blend out so easily and so beautifully. Like, I literally cannot say enough amazing things about this brand. And if you take anything away from this video, take away from it that you need to go and check them out because they're outstanding. They're so good. All right, so there we have where I would rank all of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried this year. It was a lot of fun to revisit these palettes, and I definitely want to make sure that I am putting them back into the rotation next year because I tried a lot of really awesome products this year, and I want to make sure that they are finding so much love and attention because they totally deserve it. Let me know, did you try any of these eyeshadow palettes and do you agree with my ranking or would you have changed things around? Let me know. I love to hear your thoughts and opinions. As always, everything that I have talked about is going to be linked in the description box below, as well as everything that I am wearing on my face today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.